At Media Brands, we navigate the evolving consumer and shopper journey to maximize what we call the customer flow. We do this by optimizing and reducing frictions in the customer experience, by activating precision media to direct attention, and by leveraging compelling content to drive and sustain engagement. All of this is, of course, underpinned by our expertise in consumer insights and retail strategy.
Recently, there has been so many news and opinions regarding generative AI. I am with fellow data science practitioners who fully advocate to enable each and everyone to embrace and leverage all these AI technologies. Just like any other developments, there will always be some doubts and discomforts. But just like any other technology in the history, these for sure will help us accelerate everything that we do. The use of these automations carves me more time to ideate and to strategize and to deliver more work than I used to.
Over the last decade, advancements in technology, specifically in data and machine learning, have opened up multiple opportunities in advertising. It can be a complicated space, but that's where we come in. I work for Matterkind, a specialized business unit under the IPG Media Brands umbrella. And if you lend me your ear, I'd be excited to share with you some tidbits of information to shed some clarity in the space known as ad tech.
and good afternoon to everybody joining us from here in the Philippines and from all over Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, and all across the world. Good afternoon. My name is RJ Ledesma. Very honored to be your host for today's webinar. Thank you so much for joining us here today to learn more about how artificial intelligence or AI is disrupting the media and communication landscape. Now, ngayon po, it seems like everyone is talking about AI and its potential impact on both media and the communication industry. It's no question that AI can be used as a leverage to gain competitive advantage or your unique selling proposition in the fields of advertising and of marketing. Having said this, how should we as communicators adapt, thrive, and survive in this new age of AI? Welcome to the second installment of this four-part series for 2023. Ay naku, again, ay naku. Understanding the impact of artificial intelligence on media and communication education, where we will focus on a particular aspect every month. Last month, if you joined us last month, we talked about how AI is being used in content creation, in news production, and in social media. This time around, for our second webinar, we'll be talking about unlocking the potential of AI with regard to advertising and marketing strategies in this digital age. Again, my name is RJ Ledesma. For those who don't know me, I invite you to please watch my show on One News called Bright Ideas, where we talk about different tech startups. You can also follow my podcast on Facebook, on YouTube as well, and on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. That's the RJ Ledesma podcast. And I'm also the editor-in-chief of an online publication called The Business Manual. May I please invite you to subscribe to The Business Manual. And today I will be your host and moderator for today's webinar, which is also live streaming through YouTube at the TVUP channel, as well as the Facebook pages of TVUP, the Philippines Communication Society, the Public Relations Society of the Philippines, the PUP Broad Circle, as well as the PUP Circle of Research Enthusiasts. You can also watch us on the TVUP channel 101 on Signal TV. Now, before we begin with today's webinar, I would just like to acknowledge our friends here joining us for the program. Again, let's call them here on stage, our different friends. We've got University of the Philippines System. We have Philippines Communication Society, the UP Information Technology Development Center, TVUP, the Internet Television Network of the University of the Philippines, our good friend San Miguel Corporation, IPG Media Brands, McDonald's Philippines, and of course, everyone who made this AI webinar series possible. And because we have so many faculty members and students watching us here today, we will all be sending out a certificate of attendance based on your Zoom registration. So please make sure to register your correct name in Zoom if you want to be able to receive our certificate of attendance. Bago po lahat, I'm seeing people here right now greeting us on the chat box. I want to know here right now, please state your name and where you're watching us from para mabati ko kayo lahat. Thank you so much. Let's start with the people coming from University of Batangas. We have from University of Caloocan City South Campus. We also have coming from Iligan City, Sampo. We also have from Sorsogon, University of Batangas, Davao Occidental. Saan po tayo ibang tao? All the way from La Union, from Bicol Merchant Marine College. Pakibati naman po dyan. May Pawai, Ilocos Norte, NU Manila. Wow, a lot of different schools. We also have all the way from National University Fairview. Wow, from La Carlota, Negros Occidental, from Cavite State University, Sikat Campus, from Bayongbong, Nueva Vizcaya, from Sariaya, Quezon. Wow, we've got people listening from all over the country, even from Biliran Province State University. Maraming salamat sa lahat po na nakikinig po dito sa ating webinar. Bago tayo magsimula, you know what? I wish we could do this in person, pero we're just doing this in virtually. So may ask a favor. Kunyari, magkatabi po tayo lahat. So please pretend to look at your left side and your right side at pakisabi po sa mga katabi pa ninyo sa chat box, pakisabi na sa kanila, ang ganda mo at ang gwapo mo. Ako magsusulat ako dyan. Ang ganda ninyo. O, ang ganda nyo. Yan, ang ganda nyo. Ang pogi ninyo. Ayan po, ang pogi ninyo. Pogi pa lang ni Lodi Pogi. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody for joining us here right now. And also, if you are active on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, please tag us. Please tag the Philippine Communication Society. Please tag RJ Ledesma. Share with people online the great insights, the great videos, or whatever you've learned. Please share them online so we can share great communication with everybody else dahil ang gaganda at ang popogi ninyong lahat. Now, if you have not yet applied or renewed your membership just yet, this is your chance to be part of the premier organization that represents the communication discipline to the Philippine Social Science Council. That is the Philippines Communication Society. The online membership form is available on the PCS website. That is philcomsoc.org/membership. Again, that's philcomsoc.org/membership. And because we want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to be heard, we will be using Slido. I hope you're all familiar with Slido, but if not, don't worry, we will explain that to you. Gusto namin lahat ng mga viewers natin, hindi lang sa Zoom, kundi na rin po sa YouTube and Facebook, can participate in today's webinar. We encourage everyone to take part in our mini quiz dahil madali lang siya. At ito pa, hindi siya graded. Okay, so sali na kayo. Your answers will be discussed during our panel discussion later on. And you will also see how the other viewers, how the other listeners have answered the question. Okay, now for all the viewers and all those listening to us on Zoom, on Facebook, and YouTube, please open right now yung browser. Kung naka-cellphone kayo, baka you can go to your browser over there. And then go to slido.com. That's SLIDO.com. Okay, SLIDO.com. And enter the ID. The ID to use is 3264621. Again, 3264621. I'll give you a few seconds to register there right now. Again, slido.com. And you enter the number 3264621. Okay? Or you can also scan the QR code on screen right now para mas madali. Okay? So we need you to be there right now to be able to participate in our webinar. Now, I'm sure all of you from all over the country are excited to find out more about AI and how we can unlock its potential for advertising and marketing. So as we begin, let's hear a few words from the Dean of the Polytechnic University of the Philippines College of Mass Communications and also a board director with the Philippines Communication Society, the hardworking Dr. Hemadi Mora. Dr. Mora, the floor is yours.
Good day, everyone. We are happy to have all our curious and inquisitive participants in our webinar today. Welcome people in the academe, PCS colleagues and members, guest speakers, and advertising and digital marketing professionals and enthusiasts. This second session in a series of PCS webinars focuses on how AI, or artificial intelligence, is being used in media and communication, particularly in advertising and marketing, such as in content creation, mobile optimization, and strategizing for the social media. According to Srinidhi Ranganathan, a digital marketing expert in India, in the next decade, digital marketing will continue to evolve and become more sophisticated. With the advent of new technologies like 5G and artificial intelligence, businesses will be able to reach their target audiences more effectively than ever before. Additionally, as more and more people get their news and information from online sources, digital marketing will become an increasingly important tool for companies to reach their customers. Again, on digital marketing, Ranganathan stressed that the trend is set to continue with more and more businesses relying on digital platforms to reach their target audiences. He foresees that the future of digital marketing lies in personalization and customization, with businesses using data to deliver highly relevant and targeted content to individual consumers. This will result in a more engaging, and effective user experience, which will, in turn, lead to better results for businesses. We may or may not like it, but artificial intelligence is already part of our work. This webinar helps people in communication, especially those in the field of advertising, to understand trends in digital marketing, from customer service chatbots to sophisticated autopilot driving machines, and how AI is undoubtedly making an impact on everything around us. Well, for example, ever wonder how Netflix is able to recommend movies and shows for us in a customized manner? This is because AIs do predictive analysis that enable companies such as Netflix to understand our preferences and make recommendations. Amazon and other apps are able to suggest products and services pretty much the same way. The rise of AI is one of the most transformational technological advances since the Industrial Revolution. With rapid progress in machine learning, AI is increasingly being used across a range of sectors to automate tasks and make decisions. This is leading to fears that AI could displace large numbers of jobs in the future. However, it could also create new opportunities for individual businesses and our society as a whole. The future of AI is both immensely exciting and somewhat uncertain. On the other hand, businesses and individuals are already beginning to reap the benefits of AI-powered automation and its ability to boost efficiency and productivity. On the other hand, there is still a great deal of uncertainty about how AI will develop in the future and what impact it will have on society and the economy more broadly. Some experts are already suggesting for AI regulation, while some are convinced that we have a long way to go from such need. Not to preempt the discussions now, let us all prepare to listen and later on interact with our guest speakers as they share their insights pertaining this very interesting topic. Welcome everyone to our webinar for today.
Again, Dr. Mora, maraming salamat po for those truly intriguing and insightful remarks. Let's give our virtual round of applause down over there, guys. Thank you so much, Dr. Mora. You know, I'm also a former brand manager and marketing practitioner. And the two key things that came out in her talk were the idea, of course, number one, of personalization and customization, which is the goal of every marketer. And I think that it is our responsibility as marketer practitioners, as advertisers, to be able to personalize and customize to the best of our ability. Hopefully, that's how we leverage AI. And at the same time, another thing that struck me about what she said was the idea that is AI going to displace jobs? You know, I am an entrepreneur mentor, and we're always told this one. With every irritation, with every pain point that comes, there's also an emergence of great opportunities. So with AI, let's wear our entrepreneurial lens and let's not take a look at what are going to be the jobs that will be lost when AI comes around, but rather let's look at what are the new opportunities that will emerge with the presence of AI. And that's why I'm very happy to have our speakers here today to help us enlighten us on how to better appreciate AI and how it can create more opportunities in both the fields of advertising and marketing. And right now, Dean Hamadi is on the road and hopefully she'll be able to join us during our Q&A. O ngayon naman po, let's go to our mini quiz. Hindi po graded, so please join us here right now. I'll give you a chance. Please go to your Slido poll right now on screen. Again, I hope you're all going to our slido.com app. And let's go to 32624 621. Again, 3264 621. We need to respond. Ako, 4 lang na participate so far. 5 lang, 5. Look at the people. You've got 205 people here. Ang konti-konti pa po yung sumasama dito sa atin. We're inviting more people to respond to our chat. This is like a word cloud. So the word that becomes most prominent will be the largest word in our word cloud. And if you look here right now, mukhang yung pinaka-prominent right now o yung tinatawag na poster child for AI, the most popular is actually ChatGPT. Of course, for everybody. As we know, that's just the flavor of the month or the most popular with regard to AI, but there are different AI that's currently being used. You see it being used by Facebook, by Netflix. You got Midjourney as well. You got Grammarly, all using AI in different ways. But great job on marketing to ChatGPT. Okay, so keep on going. Now, for this question, we're going to put something out on the screen here right now. We will have a word cloud followed by two very easy multiple choice questions. Now, for this one, you may put one answer on what AI tools are used for advertising and marketing in the word cloud. You will see the words, of course, increase in size the more times that it is mentioned by viewers in the poll. Okay? So, we see some answers coming on the screen like I saw earlier on. Let's review it again. Tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung ChatGPT. Yan po, yung pinakamalaki. Diba? So let's try here right now to bring in our multiple choice questions. Okay, we will leave the slide poll open for you as we go along with the program, and we'll reveal later on what are the answers after you listen to our speakers. So let's start off with our first set of multiple choice questions. Okay, guys, makinig na mabuti. Para saan ginagamit ang AI sa advertising at marketing? Ulitin ko lang, para saan ginagamit ang AI sa advertising at marketing? Ito ba ay sa micro-targeting audiences, analyzing consumer behavior, sales forecasting, automation of customer service, generating leads or prospects, social media listening, programmatic advertising, customized content, personalized experiences, or others? So ayan, let's start answering. What do you think AI is best used for? Ayan. Keep on answering, keep on answering. And we have our second question also coming on board. I see people are already answering. Sa ating second multiple choice question, what are the ethical issues in harvesting personal data and media consumption by AI? Is it privacy issues, commodification of users, spread of disinformation, identity theft, intellectual property rights, deepfakes, surveillance, dynamic pricing, trigger impulse buying, or our favorite answer, others? Okay, let's just take a brief look at the polls before we go to the next portion of our program. Let's just take a look. It was the first one so far. ChatGPT followed by Grammarly and Quillbot seem to be the most popular AIs that we know here right now. Let's move on to question number one. Let's see if people have been answering. But so far, the runaway winner here right now is customized content followed by micro-targeting audiences and programmatic advertising. Please keep on answering the polls. And what's the most pressing ethical issue so far with AI consumption? And we're seeing by far the most popular or the key issue right now are privacy issues. We invite everybody to please continue answering the survey. We will leave the survey in the background, and hopefully, while you listen to our different speakers, elucidate and explain more about AI in the fields of marketing and advertising, it might change or might reinforce your answer here at our Slido poll. Okay? Now, at this point, as we continue to run the poll in the background, let's hear from some of our viewers. Let's hear from the person on the street. What do they know about AI for advertising and for marketing?
So I have been using AI since this year lang actually.
We've been able to generate content at a much faster rate. We've been able to launch campaigns and products at a much faster rate. We've been able to shorten lead times. We've been able to shorten production timelines. We've been able to shorten the amount it takes to get from point A to point B because of all these tools available to us.
Sa paglabas ng iba't ibang mga technologies up to this day, feel ko malaking tulong siya in our like to promote our brands na hinahawakan.
Sulat ako for US clients niya, and she taught me how to use ChatGPT, Jasper AI, and other tools that will make my work easier. It makes my life really easier because you have these kinds of ideas already, but the AI enhances it as the human, of course, you're the topic expert, but AI makes it easier. Like from point A, point B, point C, A to C ka na. You don't have to go through the B.
In terms of school, I haven't had enough exposure to it. It's been thrown in conversation as essay topics, or you're asked to create a project, or for example, can you write about AI or something like that.
My university's curriculum, wala pa si AI actually in any of our subjects or courses that's specifically for AI. But slowly, actually, my professors have been introducing AI also on how it can be effective in terms of academic research and writing.
I feel like I need to know the back end on how the AI stuff works para at least I know how to navigate it once we launched it for our grants.
Best training is really how to ethically use AI or the ethical implications of AI, because that's where most of the discourse is.
Very interesting, very, very interesting discussion. Do you share the same insight about AI as well? Because what I'm picking up so far, it looks like these people are actually advertising practitioners. And from what I'm picking up is that it's made their work a bit more efficient, especially in advertising. And given the fierceness and competitive nature of the industry right now, AI is a tool to help you become more efficient and effective in releasing copy, in releasing ads, in creating copy as well. But the question is going to be later on. When do you delineate? When do you is a creative process going to disappear or improve as a result of AI as well? I want to find out a bit more about that from our marketing practitioners and advertising practitioners here in the program. So again, thank you so much to TVUP for giving us the pulse of the people through our on-the-street interviews. Now, to start off, allow me to introduce our distinguished panel of experts for our roundtable discussion on unlocking the potential of AI, advertising and marketing in the digital age. We're pleased to have with us here on the panel the Chief Integration Officer of IPG Media Brands Philippines and Managing Director of Reprise. He is a digital marketer with over 10 years of experience in media and communications planning with focus on digital. Please welcome Raymond Dizon. Ray, welcome to the webinar.
Hi, good morning. Welcome. Thank you.
Ray, thanks so much for joining us. Now, Ray, I hope you don't mind, because your title is such a, it sounds so very, very important. Can you help us better understand what you mean by being a Chief Integration Officer so that people listening to us can also get a better appreciation of what you do?
Yeah, sure. It's not a really popular position, no, but it's actually our take in kind of like how we're moving in terms of how we're reshaping the advertising marketing industry as well, because the consumer journey and the shopper journey now has been so has evolved and it's quite convoluted and very complex. So the role of Chief Integration Officer is to navigate through all of these, leveraging all the different functions, crafts, and expertise within the group to come up with an integrated and holistic proposition for our clients as well.
Wow, so
yeah, it's like everywhere.
Even job titles have to be agile nowadays to meet the needs of the digital age and the new normal. Maliban pa dyan, you're also the Managing Director of Reprise. Ano po yung Reprise?
Yes, Reprise Philippines naman is one of the business units, the specialist business units within Media Brands. It champions performance marketing and e-commerce. So it's quite on the digital and commerce side of things as well.
Okay, huli na lang. I know Ray, that you had a chance to listen to our person on the street interviews, what they've shared. You also heard what Dr. Hemadi shared. What are your just initial thoughts before we jump into our discussion?
Yeah, I mean, it's just that it's about time, I think, to be talking about AI. It's been kind of brewing in the surface for several years, and with the advancement in the past couple of years or the past several months long, minsan, it's reached a point where it's now becoming it's reaching a critical mass and becoming a hot topic that we must address it talaga, not just in the marketing and advertising industry, but across different areas as well. So yeah,
I got that. So I know that we were having all offline discussion earlier. Sabi mo, nakita mo sa word cloud natin, di ba lumalabas dyan yung ChatGPT. But that's right now the
Yes.
flavor of the month, di ba? I'm sure mamaya konti papag-usapan natin kung ano ba mga flavor sa AI, particularly para sa marketing. So again, Rai, thanks so much for joining us. Now, allow me now to introduce our next speaker also here as well. Our next speaker here right now is on the panel for the digital diversity, is part of the digital diversification and investments lead of IPG Media Brands Philippines and the country head of Matterkind. Ang bibigat ng mga speakers natin, no? Di ba? He is a marketing professional who specializes in digital and programmatic media technology and data. Please welcome Alan Lina. Alan, welcome to the webinar.
Hi, good to be here. Good afternoon.
Hi, Alan. Thanks so much for joining us. Alan, ikaw naman, di ba kanina I was asking, what does Chief Integration Officer mean? Ito naman medyo malalim po, Digital Diversification and Investments Lead. For the people listening to us here right now, they want to go, okay, please help better explain the job because maybe we want to be like you in the future to all the students listening to us.
Sure. I don't know if you'd want to be like me, but sige, I'll explain. So basically, digital diversification deals with how we funnel our digital budgets from clients. Essentially, that means finding efficiencies in media buying and activating the best digital partners out there, because it just keeps growing and growing. Sobrang dami. Before it was just Facebook and Google. Now there's a million partners. I'm the guy that makes sense of all of that.
I see. You know what? As a former brand guy myself, no, it was very easy before. We just had offline, just all offline. Just TV or non-trad and trad. And that's basically all we had to do. But nowadays, it must be a more multi-dimensional job that you have to handle here right now. At the same time, you're also the director of another company, which is called, if I'm not mistaken, Matterkind Country Head. Ano pang ginagawa ng Matterkind?
That's right. So Matterkind naman is the AdTech unit of IPG Media Brands. So me and Rai work under the IPG Media Brands umbrella. We have multiple companies under it, and what my company deals with is basically data and how to use technology and data in advertising. That's a simple way to put it.
Thanks so much for putting it in layman's terms. I'm looking forward to seeing how both of you expertly define what AI is doing to our industry, coming from your own lens and from your own different skill sets in the industry. Again, guys, thanks so much for joining us over here, Alan and of course Rai. Now, before I get carried away, I understand that both of you have a presentation, a shared presentation to show us on the point of view of IPG Media Brands when it comes to AI in marketing and advertising. So I'd like to give the floor to both of you guys, both Raymond Dizon and Alan Lina. Guys, take it away.
Thank you. Thanks, RJ. Yeah. All right. So, hi everyone again. Good morning. We're very happy to be presented to you today to be part of the panel for today's webinar. Alan and I, as in the intros earlier, we're part of a group called IPG Media Brands. We lead Matterkind Enterprise, which power the group, from a performance data and technology standpoint. Media Brands moves towards being the most progressive marketing communications company in the world. So we make it our business to move, to know and assess what's out there and what it means for our clients, as well as our own businesses. Of course, that includes AI. So what is AI in the first place?
Cool. So very quickly now, I think everyone has an idea of what AI is, but essentially it's an artificially made intelligence that hopes to mimic human intelligence, right? So this entails developments in categories such as visual perception, speech recognition, decision-making, and translation between languages. Now you'll hear the term machine learning a lot. So what does this part mean? Machine learning is essentially a subset of artificial intelligence, right? But it focuses on learning one particular task and using large amounts of data in order to complete that task. So as more data is funneled in, the machine learns and improves and actually gets smarter, So, whoopsie. Hello? 1 second. Am I still here? I'm still here. Okay, great.
Yep, you're still here, Alan. You're still here.
Okay. All right. So AI in development today, very quickly. So we have different types of AI, right? And it all ladders up to what you see here at the bottom, which is general or strong AI, AI that falls under theory of mind. Essentially, may sarili ng utak and it's aware that it's alive. But right now, where we're at primarily is what we refer to as limited memory AI, which deals with a small set of data lang, and it works within that sort of data, and then of course machine learning, which is weak AI. The main differences is, for example, I'll just give practical examples now. Limited memory AI is self-driving cars, vacuum cleaners that are kind of automated. There's chatbots, so may pre-prescribed na mga sagot siya, so natitrigger lang yun ng certain parameters. And then there's machine learning or weak AI. So these are a little bit better than limited memory AI. These are the likes of Stockfish, for example, which is a chess playing AI actually. So it's actually beaten the best chess player in the world. There's of course Siri and Alexa, which have come about in the last few years lang, last 5 years, I believe. There's also GPT-3 and soon to be GPT-4. And then finally, yung sinasabi natin na general or strong AI, that exists primarily in the realm of fiction pa at this point, right? These are the likes of si Jarvis, ni Iron Man, si Terminator, and the girl from Westworld, whose name I can't remember. So moving forward, we'll talk a little bit about how these types of AI can be applied to advertising.
Yeah, thanks, Alan. So yeah, at Media Brands, we look at three interconnected ways to maximize what we call the customer flow and the journey of the customers. So we look at experience, media, and content, and of course, all of this is underpinned by data and insights. So here in the next section, we've grouped the applications of AI in advertising according to these three pillars. First is business analytics and modeling, where AI is used to provide data-driven insights and predictions for better decision making. So this could be in the form of sales forecasting for marketing and trade purposes. Another application would be in attribution to track, measure, and understand marketing performance. So marketing mix modeling or full funnel modeling could be part of that as well. We also have Balance within Media Brands. It's our proprietary AI-driven attribution modeling tool that not only considers media performance, but also media quality and transparency, which with factors such as brand safety, fraud, viewability, etc. And the same processing of massive data sets can be applied to understand customers and inform marketing and business strategies as well. Now, AI obviously is used by advertisers to create more effective and personalized content that resonates with each individual user. So it's some of the person in the street, kanina mentioned this as well. A lot of us here might equate AI with ChatGPT, which, as RJ mentioned, kanina, is the current poster child for generative AI. It's the flavor of the mother of the season. But along with other tools like DALL-E or Midjourney, it helps create content where whether that's in the form of art or graphics, text, or even audio that can be used in a lot of marketing collaterals. So AI can also be used as a powerful tool to personalize marketing and advertising to make them more appealing and compelling to our audiences. So this can be applied on an ad level, meaning the actual ad that you see in the advertisements themselves, or in personalizing the owned assets like a website or an app, which personalizes the experience based on the individual user's behavior and preferences. And connected to that as well would be native advertising, where AI enables marketers and publishers to suggest related or relevant content, paid or otherwise, seamlessly, as part of that content consumption behavior of the audiences and the user.
Right. So then moving on, there's also what we refer to as campaign management. So campaign management is essentially, as you know, at this point, a lot of things are digitized now. No? When we set up ad campaigns, a lot of it is done on an online platform. Hence the if you can appreciate the AI generated graphic right here on the left. Parang ganyan din. That's kind of a romanticized way to look at what campaign managers do, right? So there's a lot of levers that we can tweak on our end, actually. These levers fall within the realm of audience targeting. So this refers to anong klaseng audiences, anong klaseng data yung ina-activate natin on the back end. These could entail demographics, interests, behaviors, and a multitude of other factors. Actually, that's one of the things we pride ourselves on, is that we're able to onboard tons and tons of data partners to create a very very niche and a very targeted audience for our clients. So that's definitely something that AI will make huge improvements on. The second is ad placements. So sort of like what Rai touched on earlier, but more on a micro level. This will be able to tell you saan ba ilalagay yan. Or we putting it on Facebook, TikTok, Google, anong klaseng ad size yung ang pag-i-invest na natin, and it can optimize this stuff on the fly. So there's also ad creation, like what Roy mentioned, personalized and relevant ads based on user data and preferences. So because we have such a ton of data coming from our reports, we're able to optimize towards that, and it's being done in real time. Now, when I say it's in real time, it's being done in real time within the limitations of what a human being can do, right? But a human being is only going to be working about 5 to 8 hours a day, and maybe longer if you're in the ad industry. But AI will be able to do this 24/7, right? While you're sleeping, it's optimizing, right? Moving on to customer experience, this basically ties the closes the loop for us, right? So this is not so much advertising as it is marketing, but it still plays a very integral role in the whole customer funnel, right? So chatbots will definitely play a large role. You've seen the popularity of chatbots in the last few years. In fact, like when it comes to after sales services, like if you pag tinawagan mo Globe or PLDT, you rarely ever speak to a human being anymore. Instead, you're speaking to basically a chatbot. Now, if you're not happy with the service you're getting, hopefully AI will be able to change that in the future, make things a little more smoother for you. I think everybody, because we're a very traditional market, we look for that human interaction, and maybe AI will be able to change that for us. Maybe we'll be able to finally find that human interaction, artificial human interaction. There is, of course, moving on, the point of sale marketing. Now, we're a very traditional market where most people like to do their shopping in brick and mortar stores. And I heard earlier talks of how minsan nga may pupuntahan kang lugar in other markets, and there's very few human employees na, no? Because a lot of duties have become automated na. This is something that will definitely change with AI. We can make improvements to the in-store experience by replacing perhaps promodizers, sales personnel, cashiers, with a more helpful and ever-present AI. The AI kasi, hindi yan napapagod, hindi yan magiging irritable. It knows everything now, whereas like a new employee will still have to be onboarded pa and may not know kung saan ba nabibili yung powdered milk, right? Anong aisle, right? AI will be able to tell you these sort of things. Finally, there's predictive analytics, where AI can help companies predict what the customers need next based on what they've been researching, right? So bago papunta sa tindahan, may recommendations na si AI kung anong pwede mong bilhin, ano ang may naka-sale ngayon. These will also help, of course, with customer interactions, helping to reduce response times and increase customer satisfaction, which basically means retention. Every company looks at these sort of metrics, no? The inflow of new customers, but also the retention of existing customers. So this is going to be a very integral part of marketing. In summary, AI is crucial in delivering a smooth customer experience, and will be able to help businesses retain customers and increase revenue. Finally, AI is transforming marketing by making it more efficient, data-driven, and personalized. And as it continues to evolve, it will basically revolutionize the future of marketing. With that, we'll move on to some of the things we need to look out for in deploying AI.
Yeah, thanks, Alan. Because AI is such a powerful tool and it's still advancing and developing, so there's still quite a lot of things to watch out for when we're using it, especially for business or for education as well. So number one, obviously, and it came up in the chat or in the poll earlier, is data privacy and security. So because it does rely heavily on data, so there's always that that risk of data breaches and misuse. No, so we need to make sure that we adhere to data privacy regulations and ensure that measures are in place to protect sensitive information. Number two, obviously, is lack of transparency. Just because it's so advanced and so complicated as well, it's quite hard sometimes to identify or to truly understand how it works or how it arrives at certain things. So there's a bit of issues there with regards to transparency. So ethical AI development should have that transparency as a key component moving forward. Third, obviously, is when it comes to ROI. AI and the technology itself is not cheap. It could come with significant investment. So marketers must ensure that the potential benefits of AI justify the cost. Now, when it comes to the human side, bias and human touch are obviously key watch-outs there. Bias because the AI algorithms they tend to be biased, which can lead to inaccurate insights or discriminatory practices. No, so it is degenerative and it does process anything that's it's being fed. But care must always be taken to eliminate any bias in the data and algorithms, and that's where the human touch can still really play a huge part of. So while AI can automate and optimize marketing processes, it lacks that human touch that's needed to build relationships to customers, or at least kind of like having a bit more of a flavor or nuancing to the output. So brands must balance that technology with human connection to build that customer loyalty.
Right. Finally, we'd like to wrap up with a fair warning, right? AI is relatively new to the public consciousness. So even if there are AI experts out there, they really can't tell you what the next 3 to 5 years will look like. They can only speculate. Same with me and Rai, right? Which is why also I think there's been a lot of petitions to kind of halt or slow down the development of AI. That is because hindi pa properly analyze ang possible negative effects nito, right? It could have effects such as loss of jobs to automation. There's no economic analysis yet to tell us what that could possibly mean. Privacy concerns, right? The potential misuse of AI, and there's that paranoia of actual physical danger coming from autonomous machines as the robotics industry also develops along with AI. So until there are proper safeguards and around transparency, accountability, and fairness, AI development will probably run into a lot of opposition. So that's it for us. Thank you for listening.
And again, thanks so much to Rai and Alan. Let's give them a virtual round of applause. That was a lot to absorb here. But isang applause lang. Damihan lang yung mga applause dyan. Maraming salamat. Thank you so much, Rai. Thank you so much, Alan. It's actually a lot to take in. It's like we're taking a crash course right now on not just AI, but AI in its application for marketing and advertising. I actually have my own set of questions over here that I want to ask, and I'll reserve that for our Q&A later on. And for those who'd like to ask questions to our panelists, I strongly suggest right now, if you look at our Zoom chat, you'll see a Q&A. Please put your questions that you have for Raymond and for Alan there in our Q&A, and hopefully they get to address those questions later on. Again, ulitin ko lang, kung may mga tanong kayo, kagaya ko, ang dami kong mga katanungan dyan about AI and its applications, please feel free to put that in our Q&A so that we can ask that later on here in our webinar. Okay, as we continue with the webinar, I'd like to bring in another panelist here right now. We are privileged to have with us the Chief Digital Officer of Havas Media Ortega. She's been in the media industry for almost 20 years. Pero hindi po obvious sa face niya. She looks very, very young, fresh out of college. She has spent her advertising agency journey with some of the best organizations. She currently teaches in UP Diliman and is quite active in several educational engagements in the industry and the academe. Maraming salamat ulit kay Ms. Shane Madamba. Shane, thank you also for joining us here right now, Shane.
Thank you also, RJ, and thank you for the generous introduction. I'm very happy to be here.
Shane, I know, I'm sure, Shane, you have a lot of thoughts here as well. You were listening to what they had to say, and you're also a practitioner here yourself. You're coming with, I think that it's concentric circles. There are some areas which you overlap together with the IP media brands, and there's some things which you also develop on your own. Maybe your turn to give us a bit more of just your insight that you want to share with many of the practitioners listening to us here right now on what you want to be their key takeaways when it comes to AI in advertising and marketing.
Very nice question, RJ. And for me, as Alan and Rai have presented in their shared presentation, my initial key major takeaway is really to thread the roads with caution, because culture will play a very important role in this discussion. AI in the academe is different. AI in advertising and marketing, it's going to be used differently. And apart from always being very vigilant, the second thing that all our viewers should start thinking about would be, these are not just tools, but I want you to be very mindful of the output instead. All AI tools put together, they will be sharing or they will be giving us different types of outputs, but your originality put into those outputs will be key in any successful campaign that there will be.
Got that. Thank you so much. I'm actually here taking down notes so we can also talk about it more during this program. And at the same time, I wanted to ask here as well. Actually, if you don't mind, I'm gonna open up this program here right now to a couple of questions to the panel here right now. I know earlier we had a person on the street talking about how they are applying here right now AI. And I know that they've also talked about the opportunities when it comes to AI. I wanna dive a little more into that one here right now. Earlier on, we had a chance to listen to both Rai and to Alan discuss about how they are using AI in their respective fields. Ikaw naman, Shane, how is AI used? What are the opportunities for AI in your particular field as the Chief Digital Officer of Havas Media?
In my role, RJ, I oversee the whole digital business of Havas Media Ortega. And like IPG, our friends from IPG, we are in the advertising agency field. So it is really a gamut jumping from media and content, right? And in terms of, and I'll be very honest with you, RJ, not all agencies will admit to the AI they subscribe to, because at the end of the day, it's a discussion that is either pro or anti, if I may say. It is not yet in mainstream that when you use a particular AI, you will be embraced by the industry. It's a pretty quiet conversation, to be honest. But I'd like to openly say that AI is not just happening today. If you look at all the social listening tools published online, AI has been up and about ever since we've been gathering data from all over the place, and Chatter just began back in 2015. So in our industry, there are two items that I could share with you, RJ. And RJ, you do own a business, and this first use is definitely influencing everybody who drives their own campaign and whatnot. It's essentially what our friends Alan and Rai have presented. It's all about machine learning, and this is very important in the attention economy, because in advertising, that's all what we really care about, to get people's attention. Right? Because when we get people's attention, that's the time that we put forth our brand, we put forth performance, and we actually yield results. That is number one in the list. Second, this is a bit controversial, to be honest, on generative art and generative text. This is being used, I tell you, whether they are free or like Alan, who has used his credit card. So Rai will for surely reimburse you on the back end.
We hope.
But
We hope.
we hope, RJ, for sure.
We hope.
But
Thank you,
generative
IPG
art,
Media Brands. Yeah.
thank you for sponsoring the tools. And last but definitely would be generative art and text. But RJ, I mean, honestly, generative art and texts should be used as inspirational. They should not take over original work. Advertising practitioners, we pride ourselves because of our authenticity and original work for why and how brands are built. They could definitely be inspirational sources, but for those to take over what we do and what we earn for a living, definitely way far from that level.
Got that. Actually, if I may put my two cents in, no, it's not just so much about the use of AI. It's also a bit of the value formation behind the people using the tools of AI, diba? I mean, it's more of the authentic. I mean, when you talk about authenticity, recently there was a photographer who came out. He said he submitted actually AI images, right, the black and white images, and he said, I was just seeing to test. I was just testing whether or not they would accept it or not, and they did. So that speaks not too much about. It doesn't speak too much about AI per se, but the values that the photographer had. And that's why I see that the academe is a very important place to form the minds of our future advertisers and marketing practitioners, that AI is just a tool, and the values, that your values become just even more important now as we move into this industry. And talking about using AI and talking about generative text, no, I wanted to ask one more question, if you don't mind, Shane. When you look at AI, Shane, and you say, especially in an advertising agency where AI is applied, it's sort of, it's thinking for you, right? There must be some sort of, not conflict, but maybe friction or dynamic, a sort of dynamism between both. If you are in accounts where absolutely it's great to use as a tool because it's with everything that both Alan and Ray were mentioning about predictive analysis, sales forecasting, versus I think if you're in the creatives, because if you're in creatives, you're going, I mean, you could be of two minds. No, it's diluting me as a person and as a creative. I mean, that's my initial thinking, because they're saying I should be able to do this myself, or one saying no, I'm just gonna. It's hacking the process and saying I'll just use AI to do my creative process for me. What are your thoughts on that?
RJ, really good starter. I'll give you three things, or three levels, I could say. Number one, we are at a stage wherein AI is experiencing accuracy or fact-based stress testing. We're still there. But we haven't barely touched on level 2 would be emotion. And level 3 for me would be context. And you know what, RJ? Context expires. It expires. And for us to work on predicated facts, what's happening on Mother's Day or what's happening in Christmas, it's too mundane to say that everything can be boxed in AI so that we operate as if we were robots. So on those three levels, our work in the advertising and marketing industry, you are correct. It needs to start with the academe, because the academe will have to hone and sharpen our disciplines and use of ethics. In Havas, we have certain, in a way, I don't want to say regulations or a regulatory environment, but our friends from IPG, they've also mentioned confidentiality, but just to add compliance, RJ, because it's easy to have a piece of paper. Honestly, we are all global, IPG and Havas, we're global agencies. We have these pieces of documents, but how do we actually comply? And also, how do we make sure that we are espousing accountability? And in the opening speech, we heard kanina, hindi ba? In terms of accountability, who did what? With OpenAI, how on earth will you be able to source back whoever put together the script or program? The industry today has to be accountable enough of the outputs we actually bring forth to the market. We need to put justice in the work that we give our customers. It's not about like putting together so many frameworks. The truth must always be communicated.
Not that. I really appreciate this discussion. And you know what? I like the feedback coming in also from the chat box from Ray Francis Kilantang, who's actually doing some research right now, developing a framework for human AI communication. We'd love to find more about that one. But they say over here, Ray says over here, the output of AI depends on the critical thinking skills of the user through forming of commands and questions. But at the same time, beyond that one, it's also your human framework, your human skills which come into it, and the application of ethics and values formation and what the academe teaches them for that one. Having said all that and absorbing everything that people are saying, let's go back to our Slido results and see if it's changed here so far. So let's flash our Slido results here on screen again. And let's see if there's been any particular or significant movement. Again, let's start with the first question. So still chat GPT. I guess people were just silent. People were just awed by the discussion. Wala nang bumago sa mga sagot nila dito sa word cloud. Nakikinig nila sila kay Alan, kay Ray, pati kay Shane. No? Let's move on to the second one over here. Let's move on to the first question. But it's still customized content that people are seeing for AI, and rightfully so, as discussed earlier on by our friends from IPG Media Brands. It hasn't changed really. And the next one, the last question which we asked, what are the ethical issues in harvesting personal data? And again, similar to what was raised in our discussion earlier on, it's still privacy issues at a whopping 79%. Again, thanks to everybody for participating in our Slido. If more of you want to participate in Slido, please feel free to answer. Now, moving on, let's go back to another question. We move on to our next set of multiple choice questions. Para saan ginagamit ang AI sa advertising at marketing? Let's go to that one now. Let's go back to AI again. That's our next question we want to ask. We have answered here. Participants still responding. Things haven't changed there so far. And our second question, people are still answering privacy issues. Very good. So now that we know how people have been voting, let's move on back to our panelists. I want to go back now to Alan, to Ray, and to Shane. Please feel free, any of you, to answer the question. I want to go back right now to the Slido panel one, the first one over here. Let's look back at the panel one and get some feedback coming from our panelists. So Gary, if you can bring back over here the Slido so we can talk about the Slido as it's on stage. Now, here, let me start. Well, actually, I'll start over here. No, these are the most popular ones here right now. And as we said earlier on, flavor of the month, see Chat GPT, no? But tell us a bit more, guys. What should we, as advertisers, and wearing our advertising and marketing hat, what should we be looking at here right now to help, I guess, form our better appreciation of AI with regard to our jobs? Which app should we be looking at? Let's start off with Rai.
Yeah, there's quite a multitude of them, no, RJ. There's quite a wide array. And Alan talked about it kanina and categorized them. Even with ChatGPT, with whatever it has right now, we still look at it as kind of like a narrow or kind of like a specialized AI, because it's meant to do certain things. It's not like one tool or one AI that can do everything. No, malayo pa tayo dun. They're still very specialized at the moment. So ChatGPT, obviously, I think it's one of the things that I personally use a lot. Not in terms of like writing content and looking at presentations as well. In terms of creating art or imagery, some presentations now, not necessarily the consumer facing marketing collaterals, but just within internal presentations as well, for visualization. I just use a lot of Bing, actually. It's a free tool. The output is pretty good. It gives you a lot of options. It's kind of unlimited as well. It's pretty slow, but it can actually quite be useful for just like basic presentations that we do within the business. But they're not that kind of a quality yet that you would put in your marketing collaterals or even just in social media or online files. So I use ChatGPT and Image Bing.
Got it. Ikaw naman, Alan, what's your own experience? Which one are you currently using, and which one has been very useful for you for work?
Thank you for that question. So, quick background lang, right? Matterkind works primarily with programmatic media. Programmatic media is essentially a way of media buying that uses data and automation, no, So there is a piece of AI that we use that is not mentioned here at all because it's more pang enterprise level now, whereas this is more for mass adoption. No? And we build our own proprietary machine learning algorithms as well. So hindi mentioned dito, but what I talked about earlier when it comes to campaign management, ganun yung ginagamit namin within IPG. When it comes to this slide though, however, I see like so much potential in a lot of these technologies, right? ChatGPT, Grammarly, Quillbot, whatever. These will make everything faster when it comes to creating content. These will make everything faster when it comes to productivity. Simple things like writing emails that take so much time out of everyone's day. Like you can finally just have someone write me a polite rejection letter for this vet. Ganun na lang, mga ganun na lang. It'll do it in like 2 seconds, right? So I can't give you a straight up answer. I feel like adoption is still being monitored, but there's so much potential in all of these. And we also build our own din kasi internally.
Iibahin ko yung question para kay Ms. Shane kasi Professor Shane Madambayan ng UP, scholar ng bayan yan. Ma'am, maraming nakikinig dito ngayon mga estudyante from all over the country, di ba? At there people don't know right now, pwede bang gamitin yung, or dapat bang gamitin yung AI sa classes sa pagsasagot ng mga tanong dyan or sa mga research? At kung gagamitin man, ano ba yung tamang pamamaraan para gamitin yan sa klase?
RJ, in the classes that I have sa Universidad ng Pilipinas, definitely in the field of digital marketing, I personally encourage the use of these tools because as we say, if you don't play, you don't understand. It's very hard to, look at the future if you yourself, you're not in the platform. So how on earth are we going to determine and understand where this whole shebang is going to go to? However, RJ, it is very important in the whole of the academe that the uses or the usage itself, there are limitations, right? A whole requirement that's going to be graded that should not be 100% relied upon on a tool and essentially replacing again your original and authentic work. So hand in hand, definitely yes. But as a final output, I believe that students today really have to learn as much as they can, get inspiration from these tools so that their outputs will be just the outputs will just blow you away. That's the kind of hybrid approach that I believe in. And again, play so you will understand.
Parang hybrid work. Parang hybrid workplace, work from home and face-to-face. Same thing over here. Hybrid work also when it comes to submitting work. May konting AI, may konting sariling sikap, di ba? But again, AI is just a tool. May tanong dito, yung maganda dito ngayon, may tanong she posted here, Case Kapili, I think. But guys, if you've got questions, it's much easier for us if you put those questions in the Q&A so we can group them together and ask them at one time. Having said that, I want to thank everybody for joining us here right now. What we're going to do right now is we're going to move straight to our Q&A. And also joining us in our Q&A, we have here Dean Hemadi Mora joining us for our live Q&A here on Zoom. Dean, thank you so much for joining us here as well. Okay.
Hi, hello.
Hi, yeah. Dean, thank you so much. Ang ganda ng profile pic ninyo. Light kayo, ba?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll start my video.
Let's go to our questions here right now. Now, bago kami, no? We've actually had some video questions coming up. Very flash video questions so that we can share that with our panel and with the rest of our guests.
Will AI reach a point where even marketing campaigns from start to finish, you can turn it over to an AI, where an AI will be able to execute everything in a marketing campaign, not only conceptualization, but from conceptualization to planning and production and then campaign launch.
Do they think ba na yung AI can be a substitute for influencers, since I think meron na rin mga AI influencers na nilalabas, especially in Japan, which I think parang feel ko very progress, parang very kakaiba. And I just want to ask if in the coming years, mapapalitan na ba nito yung mga real-life people influencers?
How do you know na original ka pa rin as a writer? Or, for example, in marketing, I'm writing for a hotel. What if there's also another hotel in Sweden, let's say, na budget hotel, then ask the same questions as me. So do you give the same answer and that's it, parang so that's parang medyo questionable pa siya for me.
Oh, dami mga questions dyan. Grabe. Okay. Great questions coming in. If you've got more questions, again, all you have to do is please put the questions over there in our Q&A box so we can ask them. Okay. A lot of interesting stuff. One of us asked about, can they produce a full marketing campaign for you? Number two, can you create influencers? I mean, and the third was, how to also use it in doing your own campaigns. Now, si Dean Hemadi is here live na, kanina on video now, live. Ma'am, baka gusto mong sumagot muna. Which question would you like to tackle? Start off with.
Yeah. I just saw a question here na what do we do daw sa mga, merong mga evil intentions in using AI because some are not using it for, for lawful purposes. Kundi mandaya, things like this do happen, So what are we to do about it? Actually, diyan papasok yung issue ng regulation. Diba? So we are, I believe that we are learning by doing. We still have a long way to developing policies and guidelines. So dahil inaaral pa natin ito, even ang mga mambabatas natin, inaaral pa din how to regulate. Nobody knows how to regulate such yet. So we are learning how at this point in time. So maganda ring pag-usapan yung mga ethical issues saan sa paggamit ng AI.
Yeah. Actually, lumalabas yun sa study natin, it's really some people are also saying here right now that they're having to go through out of the regulation. So there's a lot of uncovered territory here. No? I want to go actually to our chief digital officer because I realized that, media branch is really about buying, but then you get to foresee the whole campaign coming from agency. Kaya naman po, sabi pa nila kanina, yung buong marketing campaign hanggang sa research, hanggang sa programming, hanggang sa lahat-lahat na po, pati budget, magagawa kayo ng AI in the future? Or kailangan pa ng human touch? I'm interested to find out, Shane. What do you think?
RJ, absolutely not. I've been in this industry for almost 2 decades already, and I have not. RJ, you could just imagine how many meetings I attend. Every unique campaign that I see, I have not seen a standard pattern. It's just impossible. So there are prognosis, there are templates that you can follow here and there, but because of machine learning, as the shared presentation solidly established in this webinar, with machine learning, things really change real time, like milliseconds. We're talking about like super speed of light levels, no? And to be able to templatize everything and predictive or generative whatnot, I absolutely not, RJ. I believe in 2 things. Number one, our companies, our organizations, our ability to always infuse and merge the worlds of advertising and brand. Nothing parallels with it. Second would be planning a campaign entails consumer insighting. You can have all the data points you want, but you will always need a team of brilliant people. And I'm saying, RJ, fantastically brilliant people to paint a story wherein the data can really come alive. Those 2 things, because of those 2 things, absolutely not.
Okay, got that. At least may trabaho pa tayo, di ba, Shane? Okay lang yan.
I like how you put it.
Okay. By the way, for those who are putting their questions in the Q&A box, just to make it easier for us, because there's about 14 to 15 questions, we would love to ask them all. But in the interest of time, kung may tanong dyan na kapareho na sa tanong ninyo, just put a like on that one so it'll go up in terms of me asking in priority. So again, if you want me to ask your question or if your question is similar to somebody else's, just put a like. So again, please take a few seconds, go to the Q&A box there. If there's a question that you already like, just put your thumbs up there so we can ask it ahead of time. Ngayon naman, Raymond and Alan, another question which came up about influencers, diba? Kasi let's take a look at media buyers kayo, diba? Basically, they do media buying over here, and your media buying anymore used to be across just TV, print. Now it's across TikTok, Facebook, wherever else you have, including influencers. What do you think, will digital influencers, literally AI influencers, take over as they've seen in other more developed economies? What is your take on that one? And if not, what should we look at as at advertisers in terms of where things are moving to with AI and how we should programmatically buy?
You go first because you're the more influencer, and then I will jump in when it comes to programmatic.
Alright, ikaw na muna.
Thank you. Thanks. Actually, before we go into the programmatic and the influencer parts, because these are components now of the marketing ecosystem. Yung question kanina about the full process, like a one AI can do the full marketing plan, the whole thing. No? In my role as chief integration officer, I work with people who do content production. I work with people who do programmatic buying. I work with people doing marketing analytics or media planning and strategy. And just in that particular space now, there are experts in these particular crafts or particular parts of that entire ecosystem. And there are tools that make it easier, faster, more effective, and more efficient in each part of that. But to actually just synergize and synthesize the whole thing and integrate the whole thing, it's not easy. It's something I've been doing, or at least been trying to do for a couple of years already, and we're not nearly anywhere where we would want to be in terms of integration. To kind of like pass that on to AI and learn all of that in one capacity. I agree with Shane. I don't think it's gonna happen. Or at least go years and years in the future, but it's gonna take a lot. Now, just zooming into influencer marketing specifically, there's a particular reason why we look up to influencers. The other term that we use in the industry for influencers would be KOLs, or key opinion leaders. There are people who are expert when it comes to beauty or pagdating sa parenting or travel, for example, and we look up to them. And we look up to these people because of their experience, because of their actual personal experience that we can relate to. AI could probably endorse or talk about or sell different propositions or different benefits of a particular product or service, but it could be quite clinical, because we know if it's AI, they're not using beauty creams, they're not traveling themselves. So it is just based on facts and data that is being fed. And that's the one thing that we look up to when it comes to influencers. It's them us relating to their own personal experiences. And go, Alan, for programmatic.
Well, I still have a view on influencers. So here's my take. I think there will, and you can hold me to this, I think there's going to be a market for AI influencers, right? Because right now, what I'm seeing is there's a wide breadth of influencers, right? Most of them are all of them people, right? But there's now, I can't remember what they call it, but avatars. Hindi na nagpapakita yung tao mismo. They use like a cartoon avatar of themselves, and they're pushing out content. And there are people like really paying attention to this stuff, even though they will never see the man behind the mask, right? So I think there will be a niche for it. It depends on the industry. Obviously, maybe not beauty creams, but maybe for gaming, maybe for movies, that sort of thing, comics, that sort of thing, perhaps, right? And then when it comes to programmatic media, we're already using some form of AI now, right? It's not going to supplant the human, but I think because really for AI to be able to take over, we have to relinquish control over things, which I doubt we will ever do. We still want to have our input. There, and AI will basically be used as a tool for productivity to remove certain pain points. Like, for example, reporting takes so much time, right? Pwede nang ipagawa kay AI yan. Optimization of campaigns, because there's so many different parameters that you can change. Pwede nang ipagawa kay AI yan with the input of a human being, right? So it'll be a tool for us, essentially.
So the way that I seem to be appreciating all this, is that the fears from AI are misplaced, meaning it's not actually where we think it is, diba? Because what we're imagining it is that it's going to be taking over our jobs, but rather the fear that's not really what we're thinking about. It's not going to take over marketing campaign. It's not going to take over being an influencer, but rather these are more, I guess, what you would say the basic concerns are what are the bigger problems when it comes to AI, which are again data. Let's worry about data privacy. Let's worry about these things, which are of bigger concern right now when it comes to AI. Now, having said that, let's go. Let's go right now and shift to our Q&A box, and let's ask some of the questions over here that are very interesting. How can the create from Romel Lopez with 5 votes here? Now, how can the creative industry ensure the outputs of their staff were not AI produced? Do your clients mind whether the outputs are AI or human produced? Nako, I'm sure si Shane may masasabi tungkol dyan. But let's go first to the academic perspective. Dr. Hemadi, anong masasabi mo dyan?
Yeah, you know what? Depende rin kasi yan sa audience and receiver. Kasi merong mga receivers na gullible. If they're gullible, they would believe that AI-made messages or content are from real people. So, kaya nga kailangan din ng media and information literacy. Because not all people know how to discern between human-made and AI-made. So, it would largely depend on how media literate a person is. That's my take on that.
Thanks so much, Doc Hemadi. Shane, I wanted to find out your thoughts because, I mean, given our discussion earlier on, you won't be able to do you can't produce a full campaign that's AI generated, di ba?
That's correct. And again, my keyword would be hybrid. There will always be like a gamut of requirements like papers and whatever dissertations and whatnot. At a certain level, there will be things that you will need help on as far as AI is concerned. But when you now start painting the picture, it's completely an entirely different game or ball game and whatnot. And just to share with you, RJ, in the awards and recognition industry, this is a big debate. I recently judged in the FOMA 2023 or Festival of Media, and I gotta tell you, in the deliberation of cases with holograms and invented influencers, they're winning. The cases are winning. And you have side by side from, with famous case studies, and they are really working with real influencers, briefing them and revising and editing content. They are not winning as much. But the reason, or rather the rationale or the thinking that needs to be embedded here is that, oh, okay, are we going to move to hologram? Of course not. It's about challenging status quo and bringing our game to the next level. So if these are the things that can be done, so how do you increase the standards? How do you increase industry practices? And that goes not just for advertising, but also for scholarly work. If this can be done using all these tools, then what's your next end game? And that is the ultimate challenge that I really, really love to pose sa lahat ng viewers natin today. Are you happy with putting together your requirements out of some tools? Not you being part of your work. It's about being inspired and really creating output that's going to blow people away and making a difference.
Got that. To our friends from IPG Media Brands, what's your own take, guys, when it comes to this aspect, when it comes to producing material? Kasi kayo naman, I mean, you're not too concerned. I mean, I would see from IPG Media Brands, your concern is that it's pretty good actually for what you're doing, di ba?
Yeah, we do have an in-house creative team as well within IPG Media Brands, RJ. So obviously the graphic designers and copywriters would be more into the content and creation and production side now. I think right now, kasi it's still in a very nascent stage. I would say the use of AI. It's a lot of it is probably on the personal side and even maybe for internal uses, but to actually produce something AI generated and to put that out in the market, publish that online, put it in a poster or an out-of-home billboard, I think that will have to go through a lot of scrutiny. It's good that we're having this discussion now, and privacy and ethics is coming up as the number one. I'm very happy to see na hindi siya nagmo-move dun sa Slido kanina because it is the biggest topic that we need to address. And comes with it, we're not there yet, but what comes with it is the regulation, not just within the industry, but within the organization itself. Like, how do you as an organization, to Shane's point kanina, take pride in something that you basically took 5 seconds to create or maybe a little longer than that, but what used to take days of brainstorming, collaboration, production, test and learn, no? It's not to say that we stick to that model, but it is going to be a gradual progression, and there will be regulations and even transparency, no? Kasama dyan, data privacy and ano, it's transparency as well with how we conduct business. So if you are a production agency that you then submit your output is your work, how do you stay transparent and honest and accountable to your clients and to your clients when it comes to what you produce? So it does come with a lot of that. I don't think any agency or company right now has cracked that yet. It is having this discussion, this dialogue is the first step.
Got that, got that. Alan, you want to add anything else?
Sure, medyo naputol ako ng bandang huli, so hulaan ko na lang kung anong sinabi ni Rai. But I think I'll provide a different perspective than lang. I think some lines will definitely get blurred because we're coming from the point of view of big holdings groups, no? But AI can definitely help a smaller business scale, right? And they won't care so much about ethics or morals or stuff like that. If I was a small business owner, I'd be trying to grow my business with the least overhead cost possible, right? And AI is definitely going to be changing that. So that's going to open up a lot of opportunities for small players.
Yeah, coming from as an entrepreneur mentor, it's if you can hack your way to success, I guess that for me is important because it's not your main ability, it's not your creativity, it's not your main skill set when it comes to doing or writing is not your main skill set. Building the business is your main skill set when it comes to entrepreneurship. No, now let's start to wrap up this discussion. I'm going to go to the last question, and since karamihan po dito ngayon na nakikinig ay mga estudyante pati mga professor. I'm going to kind of put together, consolidate some questions over here. Number one is, should they teach the use of AI in schools? Not just the use of AI, but rather the I guess the prudent use and proper use of AI in school. Because right now, people are on the fence. They're vilifying it. They are some people are vilifying it. Na it's academic dishonesty, diba? How should they teach AI? Should they teach AI in school? And lastly, how do you ensure that there is no academic dishonesty as a result of doing AI? I mean, those two things come sort of hand in hand. So let's try to keep the answers brief if you don't mind. Again, Dean, I'm sure you're at the forefront of this one. Anong ginagawa mo ngayon po?
Yeah, that's a very important question, actually. I believe that we have to teach AI because this is technology. And, we'll be way behind if we don't. But when we teach about it and how to use it, we have to inculcate values and also accountability, ethics, responsibility. And we also have to stress the importance of integrity. Yun kasi yun eh. If you have integrity, you will not use AI tools for negative, for negative purposes. So, pwedeng ituro at dapat ituro, pero nandoon ang core values natin all the time. Yeah.
Maraming salamat, Dean Hemadi. Shane, ikaw naman, Shane.
RJ, and to all our viewers, I think it's very difficult to say that we can control the influx of information. It's just impossible. ChatGPT is just all over the place simply because it's open AI and everybody has access. The more people have access, plus people are talking about all these things on SOCMED, then oh my goodness, it's like a fire hydrant. I couldn't describe the speed and the influx of all these tools coming our way. It's just, it's ridiculous if we say that we can control these things. We need to teach. We need to tackle this. We need to include this in our curriculum. Gone are the days, and for sure my co-panelists will agree with me that not because you don't teach it, people will not do it. Of course, that's frivolous, right? We have to take this head on. But two pieces of advice that I would like to share definitely would be always to assume doubt. So my faculty, like for example, team members or team leaders, always assume doubt that in any work, there will always be a certain percentage generated through these tools. And you have to have that certain waiver, or that certain regulatory environment as we've talked about. And second, definitely agreeing with Ma'am Hemadi that with the academe very much super, super fast getting into this conversation. I believe in partnerships, RJ. Academe, we should not pressure ourselves and like figuring things out on our own. We have these partnerships, we have these agencies. IPG is here, Havas is here, and all these types of partners, and not to mention the alumni that you have generated who are now practitioners. We need to work together, get this done, operate in a regulatory environment with everybody as stakeholders, no man left behind.
Maraming salamat. You know, when you say that one, Archie, I remember a quote, I think, if I'm paraphrasing Yasser Arafat, he said, you know, the time when they were trying to create peace between Israel and Palestine, he would say, parang, you can't hide the sun by covering your face. You know, that's basically what we're trying to say over here when we're talking about the idea of AI. Okay, let's go right now to our friends from IPG Media Brands. Rai, ikaw muna.
Yes, thanks, RJ. Na, here I hear Dean and si Michelle, no, it is something we definitely need to address and look into. But I think just to add another layer to that as well is because this is AI and when we talk about technology, it just evolves so fast. What we could put in our curriculum right now may be obsolete by the time that they graduate. It just moves so fast. So I think we could potentially the way we teach AI could potentially be from a use case standpoint. No? You can look at some of the tools, for example, and how they are being used and how they're being applied across different aspects in marketing, business, or whatsoever. But I think it's the foundations. It's the foundations of how to use it, the values, as what Dean Hamady mentioned as well. Because those are the ones that don't change. You know, the tools, the technology might come and go, might evolve over time very, very quickly as well. But as long as we lay down that solid foundation, I think that's the number one thing we need to look into as well.
Thanks so much. And with that, I would like to give the heavy burden of having the last parting word to Alan over here. Alan, please succinctly consolidate everything over here that we have to share, and then I'm giving you 2 to 3 minutes to tell us what you want to share.
Grabe naman ang pressure. Actually, I was just about to say, I was trying to think of the quickest answer possible, but Shane and Ryan and Dean Hamady have brought up some really great points, and I think really I was racking my brain as these guys were talking and thinking some sort of balance has to come into play, right? Because we're not trying to fight AI, we're trying to make it a part of our lives. And if AI is what's helping students learn faster or generate the result we're looking for, better, results-oriented, diba? Then let them use it. But I also believe that governing bodies, regulating bodies will come into play. As with any industry, that is new, governing bodies will pop out of nowhere. Technology will come out that can like view if something is AI generated or if may human input ba ito, and maybe regulations like what percentage of your output can be AI regulated. Kasi kung meron tayong ganun, baka bumagsak na kami ni Rai kasi a lot of our presentation actually came from AI. We wanted to do that as a practice. Like let's see if this thing can ChatGPT, Nova Chat, and as well as ang ginamit mo Bing for the images, can come up with a presentation as quickly as we can and as well as we can. And a lot of it, like maybe siguro like half of the presentation was actually created by AI with our input and so I'm not here to fight it. I'm all for it. We just have to find a way to make sure that the humans are still bringing value to this equation. No?
Ayan. You had enough time to rack your brains. Ang ganda na sagot mo. And I just want to add to it, thanks so much for those who've been actively participating in our Zoom chat. Maraming salamat kay Ray Francis Kilantang. I like what she said. It's always good practice to ask AI sources that manually check for validity. But more importantly, sabi niya, especially when it comes to the academy, my take is to develop and ramp up students' critical thinking skills because that won't go obsolete. I hope it won't go obsolete. And of course, international academic journals right now have released a statement on AI-generated research, and they are generally okay with it. And the last thing I want to share, yung sinabi ni Ms. Case Cabali over here, dapat talaga siya ituro yung AI or else mapapag-iwanan tayo ng panahon. Besides, people will definitely use it kahit hindi siya ituro. Di ba, Shane? Like you were saying earlier, also might as well ituro para pati values and ethics kasali sa learning. So this is really great for us here in the Philippine Communication Society for PUP, for UP, for all the schools participating, maybe it's time for us to relook how we should properly integrate teaching AI and the values and critical thinking behind it into our curriculum, especially speaking to a lot of the practitioners. So again, maraming salamat. Palakpakan po tayo lahat ulit to all of our speakers. Thank you so much to all that for joining us here, sharing the thoughts with us. Before everything else, let's look back at our, can we ask you all to please answer our evaluation, which will appear on the screen right now, our launch panel. Can you please launch our evaluation poll? Yan, pakisagot lang po. The panelists, did they demonstrate thorough knowledge of the topic? Please, yung sumagot, tao lang, hindi po AI. Strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree. And of course, did the panelists properly organize their thoughts? Ayan po, maraming questions dyan. Okay, please answer them with your heart and soul and not with AI. And to all our Zoom attendees, please take a moment to answer these 5 questions. We would really, really appreciate your answers because our panelists, mga busy yan, but they took time out to speak with all of you here today. Now, we will keep the poll open so you can continue to answer. Let's just round things up. Just a few more words. Parting words na lang po. In about 30 seconds, what would you like to be the key takeaway from those who listen to our webinar? Dr. Hemadi.
Yeah, I believe in culture. It was mentioned a while ago, yung cultural sensitivity. I believe ang AI, hindi ganun ka-sensitive yan. Cultural sensitivity, even gender sensitivity, manggagaling sa atin yan. So I also agree that the inputs, the creativity comes from us. Ang AI is aiding us. Now, what we are supposed to learn is how to make it work for us positively. So let us all learn how to make AI work positively for us, for advertising, marketing, and for society.
Maraming salamat, Dr. Hemadi Mora of PUP. Professor Shane, kaya naman po, parting thoughts.
Number 1, play so you understand. Have an opinion, partake in the conversation. You are needed in this. You are the writers of this particular chapter. All you viewers, thank you for making time for this educational session. Second, AI is not here. AI has been here for, oh my goodness, a very long time. So we have no choice but to embrace it. Let's embrace machine learning so you can end up with your next end game. Are you happy? Will you take pride of somebody else's, for a tool for that matter, with what summarizes your capacity and capability? Of course not. You are more than that. And third, partnerships. Human versus machine? I don't think so. But human plus machine, we will reach greater heights. Thanks again for having me.
Thank you. Parang, Professor Shane, parang collab niyan, di ba? Parang human x machine. Parang Godzilla x Kong, di ba? Sa bagong trailer ni diba?
Godzilla it is.
Di ba? Okay, maraming salamat. Raymond from IPG Media Brands.
Thank you. Thanks again for having us in this webinar. No, ako mismo, I learned a lot just from the discussion itself, and I think that's the number one thing I wanted to leave the viewers and the attendees with. Participate in the discussion. It's good that we're having this now. And to Shane's point earlier, it's been around for some time, but usually with technology, naman, it's accelerated. It's wherever we are at this point right now with AI, it's gonna get more advanced, more complicated, very, very quickly. So the more and the sooner we embrace, adopt, learn, play with it, the more we understand it, and the more that we could understand or influence the implications and what's next, no, for the industry, for the academe, and even for our own businesses on how we could potentially pivot. There are definitely things that will overlap for sure, pero hindi naman tayo naubusan ng areas that we could actually pivot ourselves with. So as an organization and the academe as well, no, kind of like just look forward looking, because it is part of the future. So yeah, thanks again for having us.
Thanks so much with that one, right? Finally, bigatin to ulit. Alan, ako, ikaw na naman. Ano yung parting words mo that will leave everybody in awe?
Thank you, RJ. Grabe ka mong pressure, ah. So for me, AI is the next big human invention that's going to change the world, right? There was electricity, there was the internet, and now AI. And AI is going to really make human evolution jump up exponentially. That's what I'm thinking. It's very difficult for us to forecast
what it'll mean for us in the next few years. However, the one thing I'm sure of is the only constant is change, and AI is being created for the good of humanity, right? It's supposed to improve lives. So hopefully that changes everyone's perception and kind of helps you understand this is something we need to understand and we cannot fight this, right?
Oh. Alan, are you sure you're not an AI generated by Jose Marichan? Kasi sabi mo, life is a constant change, di ba? AI is a constant change. Galing talaga. Very insightful, Alan. Thank you so much. But you know what, Alan? You don't have the burden of giving the last word to consolidate and synthesize everything here today because we have a good friend from the University of Santo Tomas to consolidate all our learnings here today. Please allow me to welcome the head of the BA Journalism program with the UST Faculty Arts and Letters. He's a board director and the public affairs officer of the Philippines Communication Society. Ito talaga yung last word. Please welcome Felipe Salvosa II. Sir Ipe, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kuya RJ, sa magandang pag-moderate ng ating discussion ngayong hapon. So, ang trabaho ko ngayon is to try to synthesize the discussions and give the closing remarks on behalf of PCS and the organizers of this webinar. So gagawin ko po ito sa wikang Tagalog, no? Wikang Filipino. So sa usapan ngayong hapon, may common na thread, no, na sinasabi ang ating mga speakers na hindi natin dapat katakutan ng AI dahil matagal na itong nasa atin, no? So halimbawa yung mga gumagamit ng Spotify, no, para makinig ng music, nagsasuggest ito na sa tingin ng machine ay magugustuhan ng mga subscribers ng Spotify. Ganon din sa Netflix, no? So ito yung punto ni Dean Hemadi kanina. It is happening now. Okay? Pero mayroong magandang gamit ang AI dahil we can use it to personalize, customize, and automate our tasks, especially sa marketing at saka sa advertising.
Okay, so ayan po.
Yeah. So maganda yung overview na binigay ni Raymond Dizon at ni Alan Lina from IPG Media Brands Philippines. Sinasabi nila na mayroong 3 stages ang AI, yung limited memory AI. Ito yung sinasabi natin sa mga vacuum cleaner, sa mga chatbots, no. Meron ding machine learning or weak AI. Nandito na si Siri, si Alexa. And then, pero yung kinatatakutan natin na AI, na general or strong AI, maaaring nasa fiction pa lang ito. So ito yung mga napapanood natin sa mga pelikula kagaya ng Terminator o kaya si Jarvis, no? Wala pa tayo diyan, Wala pa tayo, malayo pa daw tayo diyan, Pero marami ng practical na mga gamit ang AI. Pwede natin daw itong gamitin sa sales forecasting, sa attribution, no? At saka sa customer insighting at lalo na sa customer insighting. Halimbawa, no, sa content creation, no? Pwede rin itong gamitin para ma-enhance, para magkaroon ng personalization at native advertising. Sa campaign management at optimization naman, pwede itong gamitin sa audience targeting, no? So for example, para ma-predict kung anong segment ng market ang most likely ay magre-respond, no, sa ating mga marketing campaign. At syempre, pwede rin itong gamitin para i-enhance ang customer experience, no? Dahil ang AI will allow us to be efficient, data-driven, and personalized. However, maraming mga issue na kailangan daw tayong tingnan pagdating sa paggamit ng AI. So mayroong 5 na na-raise sa discussion kanina. Ito yung unang-una, data privacy, kasi gagamitin ito yung data natin, no? Yung paggamit natin ng internet sa mga apps, no? Kukunin niya ng machine para pag-aralan, no? Doon sa machine learning. Pangalawa, may lack of transparency daw, no, sa AI technology, no? And then mayroong ROI issue, no. So dahil malaki ang investment na kailangan na gugulin para sa AI, baka hindi ganun kabilis ang ROI pagdating sa investment sa AI. Pang-apat, ito palagay ko alam na natin ito, yung mga algorithms ay may tinatawag na bias, no? And yung bias can lead to inaccurate insights at discriminatory practices. Palagay ko dito papasok yung regulation, ano? Para paano maging hindi biased ang algorithms, no? Panglima, kahuli yung kawalan ng human touch, no? Ang sabi ng mga resource persons natin kanina, para mawala yung bias, matrain yung mga machines na hindi magkaroon ng bias, kailangan ng human touch. Okay. Ni-raise din ng mga speakers natin from IPG Media Brands yung that there are movements, no, merong mga proposals na pabagalin or ihinto altogether ang AI development habang pinag-aaralan pa natin ito, ang implications ng AI. Samantala, gamitin natin ng AI, no? Ito yung isa sa mga takeaways ko. Habang dinidevelop ang AI, gamitin na natin yung mga tools para pabilisin o padalain ang buhay natin. Halimbawa, daily tasks, no? Or yung mga tinatawag na pain points, no? Like email writing, pagsulat ng mga reports, no? Para bumilis at maging mas efficient ang buhay natin, ano? Ang academe daw ay mayroong role, no? So para to sa mga kapwa natin, mga nasa universidad at mga kolehiyo, ano ang role natin sa diskusyon sa AI? Unang-una, itong sabi ni Shane Madamba, no? Ang role natin is to hone and sharpen disciplines, no? At i-educate natin ang mga estudyante natin sa ethics ng paggamit ng AI, no? Sabi naman ni Dean Hemedy, kailangan pa rin nating ituro ang core values, no? Ang core values sa ating mga estudyante. Dapat ba nating wag gamitin ng AI sa akademya? Ang sagot diyan ni Shane ay hybrid dapat, no? So students should use AI, should play to understand AI. Kasi kung hindi natin gagamitin to, hindi natin to maiintindihan, no? However, pagdating naman sa mga final output, wag naman 100% AI generated ang ating mga output sa school. Rather, we should get inspiration from AI, no? And then dapat sariling gawa pa rin natin ang ating mga final outputs, no? And this applies not just to the academe but also to the professional setting. Ayon naman sa ating mga kaibigan sa IPG Media Brands, sa tingin nila ang AI daw dapat ay ituro from the case standpoint because yung ilalagay natin sa curriculum maaring kinabukasan ay outdated na. Okay. Finally, itong key takeaway ko dito sa discussion natin ngayong hapon, I think si Alan nagsabi nito, no? AI is the next big thing that will change the world. We are not trying to fight AI. We want to integrate AI in our lives. However, for AI to take over, we have to relinquish control over things. At sa puntong ito, sa tingin ko ay we are not yet ready to relinquish control over so many things in our lives. At this point, gusto ko pong pasalamatan ang ating mga speakers mula sa IPG Media Brands Philippines at from Havas Ortega. At marami pong salamat sa lahat ng mga nagsipagdalo sa ating webinar. Maraming salamat din po sa mga bumubuo sa PCS, sa TVUP, sa ating pong mga sponsors San Miguel and McDonald's Philippines. Marami pong salamat sa pagdalo po sa ating webinar ngayong hapon.
Maraming salamat Sir Ipe. Bago lahat Sir Ipe, maraming salamat sa masinsinong pagkinig sa ating mga speakers ngayon. Ikaw naman po, bilang isang journalist professor, ano naman yung gusto mong sabihin? Ano yung parting words mo naman pagdating sa AI?
Ang AI palagay ko hindi natin siya dapat katakutan kasi if we realize it, ang dami ng bagay sa buhay natin na may halong AI na. So yun nga, manonood ka lang ng Netflix, kung wala kang maisip kung anong gusto mong panoorin, AI will decide for you. No? Ang mga appliances natin, yung mga appliances for sale, the next appliance sets that you will buy will be partly AI controlled. So hindi natin siya may iwasan, and palagay ko challenge sa atin how to integrate AI in our lives. No? Even in our fields, journalism, marami ng mga content, no, news articles can be produced by AI. Halimbawa sa sports journalism, sa business journalism, yung mga stock market reports can be produced by AI. So I think we should not be scared of AI, but rather let's find out what else we can do with AI's help.
Yan, sir. Maraming salamat sa insight po ninyo. Very, very for appreciation moving forward. And let's just look again at our panelist evaluation poll. Maraming salamat. Ang gaganda ng mga resulta dito. Thank you so much to all our speakers. Wow. Everything from questions 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 would strongly agree. Thank you so much to all the speakers for coming up in full force. Maraming comments pa na lumalabas sa ating chat box saying what an insightful and great discussion they've learned. At hindi lang tayo natuto sa the participants and the panel discussants did not only learn, they only speak very well, but they also learn from their fellow panel discussants here as well. So again, sa lahat, palakpakan po tayo lahat ulit. Again, guys, thank you so much to all of you. Really appreciate all of you listening. Huwag po kayong bibitaw, lahat ng mga students, especially here, who want to get a certificate of attendance. Pinapaalala ko lang po, please make sure to put your correct and complete name there in the Zoom ID so we know whom we can make the certificate of attendance for. Okay, so make sure the name is complete in your Zoom ID registration. Now, as mentioned earlier on, this webinar is the second installment of our 4-part series called Ay Nako! Understanding the Impact of Artificial Intelligence on Media and Communication Education. The Philippine Communication Society will be having this webinar every last Wednesday of the month hanggang June 2023, culminating in a hybrid face-to-face and online international conference to be followed immediately by the PCS General Assembly and general elections right after. So again, please mark your calendars. We will see you there next month. We'll be featuring Preparing for the Future, Integrating AI into the Philippine Media and Communication Education. And that will be with Jules Giang as your host and moderator. Please stay tuned for updates in the PCS website or Facebook page. Again, if you want to watch our previous webinars in playback, all the webinars on this series are available for all of you guys. All you have to do is just view it at your convenience at the TVUP YouTube channel. Now, this formally closes the first webinar, or rather the second webinar of Ay Nako, Understanding the Impact of AI on Media and Communication Education. We will see you next time again, last Wednesday of the month from 12 to 2 p.m. Manila time. Ako po ulit si RJ Ledesme. Please invite you to please like my Instagram, Twitter, Facebook page. You can also follow me on the RJ Ledesma podcast. I invite you to go there. And please, I'm the editor-in-chief of the Business Manual. Check it out here right now. It's a great magazine to learn about entrepreneurship. I also host the show Bright Ideas on One News. Please subscribe to the RJ Ledesma podcast on Google, Apple, and Spotify. At the same time, on Facebook. On behalf of the Philippines Communication Society, maraming salamat. Let us strengthen our country's future, not only through communication, but through great communication. Enjoy the rest of the week. Maraming salamat.
Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, RJ. Galing mo.
Thank you. Are you okay na po?
Thank you po. Marami po salamat.
Thank you. God bless. Have a good
Thank
weekend.
you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Apo.
Ay, Pe.
Thank you. Bye.
Oo,
you.
salamat.
Thank you, Gina. Thank you for the kind words, Gina. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Shane.
RJ.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ibe, salamat. Nef. Janelle, yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ana, thank you. Liz, hi. Mameda, thank you.
Thank you po, ma'am, and congrats.
Congrats, that was great. Oo. Thank you, Edna. Ingat.
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Congrats. Ang galing-galing mo.
Salamat po.